What's up,
If you
guys?
haven't read
That's
Lord of the
Fresh
Flies,
here.
you're
Today
probably
I'm
going to have to in
playing-
school one day. Let me give you
I
an
mean, not
abridged
playing,
version
I'm
for when that
reacting
time
to,
eventually comes.
like,
The Lord...
Getting lost at Camp Geronimo. So I'm watching the Odd Ones Out Getting Lost at Camp Geronimo video. So yeah, let's unpause it in some time.
Lord of the Flies is a book about a bunch of little British
yeah.
boys who got marooned on a
All
deserted
right.
island, and the book tells the story about what the
The
boys do to
elements,
survive
okay.
the elements, but also themselves. Within like a week on the island, the boys devolve into complete
Within a
savages,
week?
covering themselves in face paint and killing a pig.
Whoa, that's violent.
I said too much.
Yeah,
and when
you
I
did
read
say
the
too
book in
much.
high school, I thought having the boys turn savage so
Okay,
quickly wasn't
okay.
all that
What
accurate.
the
As a
freak?
former young boy myself, I was insulted that William Golding thought that us little
Gotta
boys
admit-
were so
I've gotta
heartless.
admit.
But then I remembered all the things that
So
happened
why
at
is he
my
thinking
scout
at
camp,
Camp
Camp
Geronimo?
Geronimo, and I
he was
realized
at
that
Camp
Lord of the
Geronimo?
Flies is still
Still
inaccurate.
inaccurate,
The
okay.
boys would have gone
The
savage
boys
way
would've
faster.
gone
Listen,
when-
I'm a
okay,
cautious
hold on.
person when I'm hanging around
So,
the guys.
the guys.
In PE, the other boys would be playing this game called Quarters, where you would fling quarters at people's knuckles until they bled.
What
But I
the
wouldn't play that game because it's dangerous
bleeding.
and I'm a
What the heck?
loser. Or when I
See,
was at a
you
party
called
and someone
yourself
wanted to
a
play the
loser.
knife
Why?
game to show off how good
Stab,
their hand-eye
stab, stab. No,
coordination
no,
was,
no.
I wouldn't play
You
that game
definitely
either
need
because I
your
needed my
hands
hands
to draw
to
and
draw.
make videos.
But something about being with
The
the
guys.
guys in the middle of the woods, I would
On
live on
edge,
the edge.
savage,
Every
bro?
summer, our troop stayed at this camp called Camp
Camp Geronimo.
named after the Apache Indian who was the first person to yell Geronimo while doing a
While
sick
doing a
backflip
sick
into his
backflip,
pool.
you
One
drew
time,
it
me
as
and a
a
couple other
front flip.
boys, I don't remember
Yeah,
who
of course you
started
didn't
it,
remember
but
who started
we were
it.
playing with
You
matches.
brought it out,
and,
James.
okay, I know what you're thinking, but nothing bad happened, okay? We just accidentally lit
It's
some
not
dried
okay, it's
bushes
not
on fire and
okay
it
at
got
all.
somewhat
What
out
the
of
heck?
control. But it's okay,
It's
it's
not
fine,
okay,
okay?
it's not
We
okay.
told the scoutmaster that there was a loose fire
Why are
spreading
you
faster than we
smiling?
could put it out, and he got
You're
everyone in the
getting
troop to
everyone
stomp
to
on it,
stomp
and we
on
never
it?
got in trouble.
You didn't get in trouble? What? That's not possible. Look, that's definitely a sorry face. How did you not get in trouble for that?
Well, what were we doing with the
So,
matches?
why are you
we were
doing-
just lighting them and throwing them at each
Okay,
other.
that's irresponsible.
Anyway, about 30 other scout troops attended
Animal
Camp
Crossing
Geronimo,
type
and we would
characters,
spend
okay.
a whole week
Like
sleeping in
tents, oh my
tents
gosh.
and earning merit badges.
Badges.
Most of the camp honestly felt like school,
What?
but outside. Like,
School,
when
but
you got
outside.
to the camp, you were given a schedule of classes,
Schedule of
and for
classes?
the next 7 days, you would go to those
have to
classes and
learn?
learn and fill out packets,
Fill
and
out
sometimes even have
packets?
homework,
And
which
even have
probably
homework?
helped us not devolve into savages.
Savages!
I mean, sure, the classes weren't as boring as
Wow.
English or geometry. Geronimo's classes were wilderness
What?
survival,
Wilderness
kayaking,
survival,
or bear
kayaking,
self-defense.
or bear
Earning a
survival.
merit badge required two
Yep.
things. The first thing,
One,
you had to write stuff down. Name and point out the major parts of a kayak.
Kayak.
Explain to your counselor the hazards you are most likely to encounter while participating in kayaking activities. Bears. And the second part of the merit
Yep.
badge, you
You
had to actually go out and do stuff.
Okay.
Capsize the kayak,
I've never
swim it
actually
and the
done-
paddle to the
okay.
shore, and if you don't
The
make
bears
it, the
would get
bears will
you?
get you. I never
never
got the
got that.
kayaking merit badge. You had to be at least 12 to go to
gosh.
Geronimo, but you could go as an 11-year-old if a parent was coming with you.
His dad, look at him. Why? Why did you do this? My gosh.
And at the time, my dad was a camp counselor. My birthday was May 14th, and Geronimo was at the end of May, so I barely made the cutoff as the youngest person going. Geronimo was a big step from spending
Well,
3 days at Cub Scout Day Camp to spending
my
a
gosh,
week in the
you're
wilderness.
right.
What made it worse was I was going to be spending a
kids?
whole week with all the mean older scouts and my
your
dad.
dad.
There was this one scout named Paul. When I was
Paul.
11, he was 15. So naturally, he would pick
him
on me and
around.
make
Okay.
fun of me. Ha
Okay, stop
ha,
laughing.
I get it. I'm small, so I suck.
So,
but
yeah.
silver lining, he got fatter.
got
and a couple
fatter?
years ago, he reached out to me, and I had been
So, a
doing the
few
whole
years
YouTube
ago.
thing for a while. He was off
This guy
starting his own
started his own
business, and he
business.
wanted to do some business opportunity with me, and I just said, hey, do you want to do my
wanted him
merch?
to do your
So now
merch?
he works
So
for
now
me.
he does?
So kids, if you ever
Alright.
have bullies,
And I love
just
that
become
outfit.
successful on YouTube and then hire
That's
them to
not how
sell
you do it.
plushies. He's
Plushie.
actually a really good merch guy. He gets all my stuff into these retail stores. So if
Man.
you see a floof plushie at
Floof.
Hot Topic, you can say,
Floof.
thanks, Paul. Bullies really do make a difference.
Pushes him in plushies.
Anyway, self-promotion aside, my first year at Geronimo, I was a little bit on the very young side compared to everyone else. I was taking a class called orienteering. The class taught us how to read maps and use a compass. And one day it was time for our class to go on a scavenger hunt thing. We were given a list of places we had to go to, and we were supposed to use our compass and count our paces to get to each specific location. Then when we got to our destination, there would be a marker somewhere, and we would have to write down what that marker was. There were 10 different markers that we had to find, and the course was supposed to lead us in a circle. The leader who was in charge of our group and the compass was an older scout named Paul.
Not the merch guy.
It wasn't the merch guy, Paul, but I think it would be funnier if it was.
Sucks.
Our group set off to the first location. Having a compass and counting your steps isn't the most accurate way of navigation, but we weren't allowed to use Google Maps, so. When we got to the spot, we had to look around for a little bit to find the marker, but we eventually found it, and then we were off to the second location. This time, the marker was harder to find. The spot we landed on was pretty far from where the marker actually was. At the third location, we couldn't find the marker. But we did see this reflective sign on a tree, and we figured that's what the marker was supposed to be, so we wrote it down. At this point, I decided to grab my own compass and give it a try. My compass pointed in a direction that was a little bit off from Paul's direction. Not by a whole lot, but just enough.
Oh, no.
But remember, I was the little kid. Nothing I said mattered. Paul said things to me like, "Oh, you don't know how to use a compass. I bet yours is broken. I'm never going to work for you one day." And you know what? I believed him. This guy is 15 years old. Do you know how wise and experienced he is? So we kept going and struggling. We used anything we found as a marker.
It's
Some
a
piece
marker.
of trash, it's a marker. Hey, this tree has an A and an M carved into a heart.
That's love.
Kind of weird that it's at an all-boys camp. Do you think that it's a marker? Eventually, we all had to admit that we were completely lost. The other boys told Paul to hand over his compass, and Paul reached into his pocket, pulled out his compass, and two buzz magnets. Buzz magnets are magnets that are shaped like a bullet, and you can throw them up in the air, and they make this cool buzzing sound. They sold them at the camp store, so that's why Paul had them. And everyone immediately figured out why we were lost. For those of you who don't know how compasses and magnets work, I don't know either. I think it has something to do with them coming from outer space. A compass is supposed to point to the magnetic North Pole, and a magnet will mess up the direction a compass is supposed to point in. Paul's compass wasn't pointing to his pants the whole time. We would have been suspicious if that had happened. But because his compass was right next to a magnet, it got uncalibrated, and then we all got lost in the woods and died. And that's why I don't have an orienteering merit badge. I was upset because my compass probably wasn't broken, but I didn't stand up for myself.
Don't stand up for
Because I
yourself,
don't do
that's
that.
stupid.
I have more Camp Geronimo stories, like the time me and my friend threw a Ziploc bag full of water at the older kids' lean-to, and then I ran away so fast that I threw up. But I already did a video about that, and it's 5 years old, and it's very bad, and you're not allowed to watch it. So the moral of this video is, just because you're young doesn't mean you're stupid, but it does mean you make bad videos on YouTube. Also, check your pockets before going orienteering. Going orienteering.
What?
Sounds like a tongue twister. Going orienteering. Going orienteering. Going orienteering.
Well, that was my Camp Geronimo experience. It was a lot of fun. I wonder if the camps are open right now, if people would have to be quarantined inside the tents the whole time. I bet that would be pretty intense. As you've seen on the news, a lot of events are getting canceled or postponed, which include my events. So if you want to see updates to the events I'm going to, then follow me on Twitter and Instagram, because that's where I'm going to be posting updates. A lot of events have been postponed until further notice, so just...
Alright. That'll wrap it up.